from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy. I think they would appreciate that too. We have to give them.
Question of the doctor.
We have to keep their privacy.
It is public information.
You know, would you counsel him to do that just to sort of put an end to these questions?
Andre, I hear you. The neurologists have said it is not warranted. The president himself, he said it today, he said it multiple times, and the doctor has said this. Everything that he does day in and day out as it relates to delivering for the American people is a cognitive test.
A little bit, you too. And like you have an issue about a candidacy based on ability and health concerns. So what do? You try to resolve them. One, you put the candidate out for 2 hours and let them take questions from the press, show not just phone interviews and not just, I mean, George did a great job, but 22-minute taped interview is not what we're talking about. A full hour and a half, 2 hours, take questions, blah, blah, blah. And you put out all the health records. But they're not doing either of those.
Somehow or another, that little bit there with Jake Tapper went completely under the radar yesterday. And the biggest reason why it went under the radar is because the DEI press secretary, who's got a lot of, and I mean a lot of infinity stones of wokeness, as Greg Foreman would say, let's just say she did not have a good day. So yesterday, and you guys obviously saw a little bit there, yesterday was not exactly a good day for the mainstream media, nor was it a good day for the Biden team. And of course, there's also this unhinged rant that Joe had on the morning of, he had on Morning Joe, because these people are obviously still trying to stay in this camp, even though they obviously are not in this camp, but yet they're still in this camp. It's a very, very weird, confusing thing to do. And yes, I said weird like 4 or 5 times. Maybe I said it 6 times. I really truly don't know at this point in time. You guys know me. I'm doing this video off the cuff, completely unscripted, uncensored, not using any talking points at all. Still, the point is this right here. It's as I've been saying for the past week and a half, the mainstream media can no longer hide what's going on here. And of course, everything that's happening looks like a great big giant show. But here's the thing though. Before we talk about Karine Jean-Pierre and the Infinity Stones of Wokeness, I want to take you guys back in time because I just now came across the story and I feel bad about not being able to report it earlier. Apparently, Karine Jean-Pierre, apparently she was supposed to be fired a year ago. Apparently, she was supposed to be fired because she, quite frankly, sucks at her job, as most of you guys know. Jen Psaki, I did not like. The only thing she did was lie. Circle back, girl. That's pretty much all the hell she did was just lie about crap. But the thing about a press secretary is this here. Press secretaries are supposed to know how to direct the propaganda. They're supposed to know how to direct the media's questions. They're basically paid to lie to you or they're paid to mislead you. It sucks, but this is obviously what these people are paid to do, and they are in close proximity with the president. It doesn't matter who the person is. Some press secretaries have to be more honest than others, and some have to be much better at carrying the line than others. Karine Jean-Pierre is not one of these. Is actually good at her job, and of course, she's also been nailed on multiple occasions, like she was yesterday. But this one, I think, takes the cake. Karine Jean-Pierre was supposed to be fired because of how bad she was at her job. However, the problem is this here. Due to the Biden's affirmative action and diversity, equity, and inclusion stances, they could not fire her. She's black. She's a woman. That's 2 infinity stones of wokeness right there. She's also gay. There's 3, and I'm pretty sure there's 4, 5, and 6. Basically, if they would have fired her, they would have looked either A, homophobic, or B, racist, or possibly sexist. That's the amount of crap this administration has created. That's exactly the type of squalor that these people are dealing with. But while Karine Jean-Pierre was fighting back against members of the liberal media who obviously feel like they just got screwed over by this administration because they were never honest about Joe Biden's condition, even though people like myself were, that doesn't mean that Joe Biden cannot go on Morning Joe and give us a nice little rant on what's going on. Now, before we play some of this, I'm not going to play the whole thing. I want you guys to see if you guys notice something about this rant. Not so much what he's saying, even though it's all crazy stuff, but how it sounds. And the reason why I want you guys to see how it sounds is because, as you guys can obviously see, I'm speaking through a microphone. And this right here might would make you think that maybe Joe is like in the bathroom or something like that, talking to Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. However, I think there's something else going on, but let's roll this.
Been tested for any age-related illnesses, pre-Parkinson's, or anything like that, that might explain sort of having a night like that where you couldn't finish sentences?
Look, I had, before I was feeling so badly before the debate. When I came back, they tested me for, I thought maybe I had COVID, maybe there was something wrong, I had an infection or something. They tested me, they gave me those tests, I was clear. So, but look, I had a bad night. But the fact of the matter is, look at what I'm doing. I mean, let me put it this way. If there was something that was wrong that night, it's not like it comes and that's one night and it goes away. That's why I've been out. I've been testing myself, been testing everywhere I go, going out and making the case. The night of that debate, I went out. I was out till 2 o'clock in the morning that very night. That very night, it drives me nuts, people talking about this. That very night, I'm talking to large crowds. Look at the crowds we've gathered everywhere from Atlanta to North Carolina to Pennsylvania, and look at the enthusiasm. But it was right after. And where the hell's Trump been? What has Trump said or done?
Paper is shuffling. Obviously, there's a script. Obviously, there's notes. We talked about this in a previous video, the video that I did yesterday afternoon, the 4 o'clock video about how it was that the Biden administration is obviously getting talking points fed to them. They're getting scripted questions. And, of course, they're also calling on other, let's just say they're calling on certain reporters. And, of course, they do this anyways, but still the things are here. Given the fact that now it just came out that they are now have to give Joe Biden literal directions, cards with people's names on it, people to actually call on, stuff like that, that should tell you right there that Biden, of course, is definitely not with it. I mean, there was even this one bit that came out that I saw on Ben Shapiro yesterday where apparently they had to actually give Biden literal picture directions to walk around. The point is this right here. Obviously, people are concerned about Biden's cognitive well-being. Duh. I mean, we've been telling you for a while, the guy was obviously not there mentally. He's an old fart, and he's obviously going to do what old farts do. He's going to crap his pants. He's going to talk very, very slow. He sounds like he's about to die. I mean, this is pretty much the end of his life. I mean, at least in the case of Trump, he's 77 years old, but at least he looks like he can actually do the job and sounds like it too. The point is this right here. Joe Biden is not in good health. He never has been in good health. And obviously the speculation is getting much, much worse, which it should have been from the minute he stepped foot on the stage in 2019. But the thing is this right here. Now that it has came out that there is an actual Parkinson's disease specialist who's actually been going to the White House, has been there roughly 8 times, this right here has obviously created a bit of a ruckus in the White House press corps. Now, before we get to the White House press corps, I want to go back to this unhinged rant just for a couple of seconds because it was unhinged. And I did tell you guys, I was going to tell you what I think is really going on here as far as this rant is concerned.
The public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for 2 reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance, number one. Number 2, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who they know so much more. But if any of these guys don't think I should run against me, go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention. Except me and the folks out there in the local race, he said, I did nothing to stop Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In fact, he said, I think I encouraged Russia from going, I think he encouraged Russia going in. I mean, I'm reading from the list of lies. First of all, he was made up quote, suckers and losers. I was with it. He called the Americans in the cemeteries from World War I suckers and losers. And so this guy's going to have to start to answer for what he did.
I'll let that run once again for about 1 minute and 20 seconds. You can obviously hear the paper. You can obviously hear the crazy things that Joe is saying. Come on, man. Said that very, very fast, of course, after another one. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now exactly what I think is going on here. I heard somewhere in the 2 that he's talking about a fair shot. That right there sounds to me like Obama, because if you guys remember in 2012 when Obama ran for re-election, he constantly talked about a fair shot. He talked about a fair shot in 2008. If you guys remember the Joe the Plumber ad, the Joe the Plumber situation, you'll probably remember Barack Obama basically telling you that he was actually a Marxist. The point is this right here. If you listen to this over and over again, if you listen to the full bit, which I'll link in the description box for you guys, you'll come away with the impression that, number 1, this was probably done in a bathroom. Number 2, you can tell that the microphone settings are obviously makes you think that something may be up. And number three, you can obviously tell it was scripted, and these guys are obviously shuffling paper in the background. I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb right now, and I'm going to go ahead and make a crazy accusation and say that I don't think that was Joe Biden's voice. Or maybe it was Joe Biden's voice and it was done in AI form. Yes, I'm asserting that Joe Biden's voice is being done in AI form, or it's very, very possible that this interview was already taped beforehand when Joe Biden was more cognizant, and they obviously made some edits to it. You guys can probably catch it in the jump cuts, because there's even jump cuts even during the conversation. Like I said, I advise you guys to go back and rewatch everything, and of course, rewatch the whole segment itself. He calls in. We all know he doesn't have any energy. They're doing this on purpose, obviously to fake out their audience. And I think the White House press corps and everybody else kind of already knows this. But the question is, why would they do this? Well, the reason why they would do this is obviously to try to unblackpill their voters. I've been saying for a while that the mainstream media, MSNBC and CNN in particular, they've gone out of their way to tell people that, well, I guess that Biden's got no chance of winning. And of course, they've also said that Biden was going to win. Almost the exact opposite messaging of what they did in 2016. And Democrat voters and liberal viewers tend to trust the mainstream media a little bit more than people on the right. I know I damn sure don't trust the media. I've been saying for a while that the media was the enemy of the people. But the point is this right here. Those who watch MSNBC, those who watch CNN, typically tend to trust what the media says a lot more than those on the right. So why go through all the trouble? Well, it means that Biden's polling numbers must be much, much worse than what they've been letting on to. You see, when you do internal polls, they typically tend to give you the actual real numbers as far as turnout is concerned. Biden's internals have been abhorrent recently, and of course the Democrats talk about replacing him. And I've already explained how it is that if you do replace him, there's only one person you can replace him with, and that's Kamala Harris. But speaking of diversity hires, let's get back to the diversity hire press secretary.
Gets every year that we provide to all of
You
you.
know, that's a very basic, direct question.
Wait, hold on, wait
Come to the White House
wait a second.
eight times, or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a
Not
second.
what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please. A little respect here, please. So every year, around the president's physical examination, he sees a neurologist. That's 3 times, right? So I am telling you that he has seen a neurologist 3 times while he has been in this presidency. That's what I'm saying. I am telling you that he has seen them 3 times. That is what I'm sharing with you.
That was only about 47 seconds of the entire situation, which of course went on for about an hour. I'll link that in the description box as well, because obviously as YouTubers, we have to cherry pick certain bits and we have to edit certain bits. But the thing is this right here. Karine Jean-Pierre, and I have to say this one more time, is probably the worst press secretary the country's ever had. I mean, I will at least give Obama's press secretaries credit for being able to spin the propaganda. When Trump was in office, I wasn't exactly a fan of Sean Spicer being the press secretary to start things off with, but then you got Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who did in fact know how to do her job. Then you got Kelly McEnany, who, by the way, still got a lot of crap, got a lot of crud, even from conservatives, but that woman knew what the hell she was doing. Jean-Pierre, on the other hand, does not. And while I think that Jen Psaki is a full-blown lying Chucky lookalike, that doesn't mean she didn't know how to do her job. The reason why these people are in this case and why Karine Jean-Pierre is melting down is because these people have been lying to the American people for 4 consecutive years. They've been lying to them actually a lot longer than that. And of course, the mainstream media, they're kind of lost on what to do here, especially the White House press corps, who's got to ask these people the questions. And of course, you're seeing the meltdown that she's having largely because these people have been lying to people for the past 4 years. And of course, the chickens are now coming home to roost. Let's watch a little more.
To see a neurologist. So that is answering that question.
No, it's not.
No, it is. It is. You're
Dr.
asking me.
Kevin Kennard, come to the White House.
But I also said to you,
condition.
Ed, I also said to you, for security reasons, we cannot share names. We cannot share names.
You cannot
We
share
have to.
names
We have
of
to.
others he would have met with.
We
but
cannot.
You can share names in regards to if someone came here in regards
we
to the
cannot
president.
share. We cannot share names of specialists broadly, from a dermatologist to a neurologist. We cannot share names. There are security reasons. We have to. We have to protect.
It's public.
I understand that. I hear
It's
you.
right there for anyone to see.
Ed,
This right here is what happens when you hide information, especially very, very, let's just say, big details. Like the president of the United States has been seeing a Parkinson's disease specialists. It's a pretty big deal. I'm sorry, I just can't help but laugh at this and laugh at these people reaping what it is that they've sown. There is one thing that I will get Karine Jean-Pierre's back on here in a second, but I'll get that after you guys watch this last bit, because I need to go ahead and kind of conclude this and tell you what I think is going to happen as a result of all of this. But let's watch this last part.
I cannot from here confirm any of that because we have to keep their privacy. I think they would appreciate that too. We have to give them.
Question of the doctor.
We have to keep their privacy.
It is
It's public information.
I hear you.
And you're going to allow this to fester longer, Karine, unless the White House answers the
hold
question.
on a second. There's no reason to go back and forth and be in this aggressive way.
Miffed around here about how information's been shared with the press corps about him.
What are you missed about? What are you missed
Everything
about?
he just asked about.
And then every time I come back and I answer the question that you guys asked.
Correctly, you didn't have to come back and clean up.
I never answered the question incorrectly. That is not true. I was asked about a medical exam. I was asked about a physical. That was in the line.
I think that press corps just may all be voting for Trump come this year. I'm just simply saying that might be a little bit too far, because the press corps is obviously very liberal. Here's the thing, and I did say that I was going to get Karine Jean-Pierre's back on one thing, and here's why I'm going to get her back on. I'm going to get her back on the fact that she can't divulge any names for security purposes, but then again, at the same time, it's not like these people have not done it before and not put people at risk, especially those who may have served the country or still do serve the country. By the way, the specialist that Joe Biden had brought in came from Walter Reed Medical Facility. As I mentioned before, it is a veterans hospital, so chances are he's probably a member of the U.S. Navy, possibly the Army. So once again, you have a service member who's doing things, who's actually checking and actually doing his job. But here's the thing, though. The White House press corps is obviously pissed off, and as you guys obviously saw in the thumbnail, these people are finished. There's not going to be any more trust with this press corps and this current administration. It's just not going to happen. The trust, I think, was already broken years ago when Psaki left and Infinity Stones of Wokeness decided to take over and become the actual press secretary. But still, the point is this right here. If the press corps cannot if the press corps does not trust the administration, then obviously the administration is dead before you even get to election day. It makes me think that you just may see something that you've not seen since 1988, and that right there being, well, I'm not going to say it here because I don't want to make proclamations or declarations on anything election related, but still at the same time, if you've lost the press corps, then you've officially lost even the liberal base of the country who puts trust into the White House press corps and into the liberal media. Just simply saying these people are in fact finished. But you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please share the video. Please sign off in the comment section. Wednesday, I'm going to try to get a video out on this proposed gun control that's not gun control. That is a very, very weird type situation. It's probably going to be a relatively lengthy video, probably over 20 minutes, about like this one here. So make sure you guys stick around for that. And I will see you guys later.